So it's been a while since I've posted a Sage update video. We've actually pushed out a few Sage updates since our last video, and for various reasons, just haven't recorded an update video. So I just thought I would record this to list some of the things that we've improved, and to talk very briefly about the things that are coming up in the next few weeks during September. It's now September 2024. So uh, one thing that's quite useful is we had the idea of a custom climate before, but you didn't know which one you had selected. So we now have a little bit of information up here in the upper right, which lists which climate you're using. So if you're using a zip code, you have an address, it'll list the zip code. The reason it uses the zip code is it'll find the weather station that's closest to that zip code. This is only in America, so it's not going to find worldwide weather stations. But this is just a handy way to get the climate information without having to manually enter it in. But if you're in a situation where you're not in the United States, or your climate is you're not near a zip code, or your climate has changed because of climate change, then you can create a custom climate. So I have one here. These numbers are not great, but just gives you an indication that you could enter in your monthly min and max averages, just to get this is useful for calculating planting dates. So if I select this and I reload, you'll notice this indicates that I'm now using the test tube custom climate. So if I want to switch back to using a zip code, I can just use zip code here, select, and reload, and now I'm back to using the zip code. The second feature that we've added, we've improved the permaculture guilds. So if you have a garden area, you're under plants, and you go to this guild function tab and click add new guild. Now this is a wizard that guides you through the creation of a permaculture guild within your garden area. So a permaculture guild, for those of you who are not familiar with this, in permaculture this refers to a collection of plants that work together to almost create a little mini ecosystem within your garden area. So typically, when you have a permaculture guild, you'll have a star player. This could be a fruit tree or a bush or something a little larger that's going to be generating a lot of harvest for you. And then the kind of supporting plants around uh, that star player are going to support that plant and kind of help it out so that it can thrive. So I'm going to search here. This is the first step. And then let's see, I'll pick a pair as the star player. I'll go to the next step. And then these are kind of the supporting functions that you typically see in a permaculture guild. This is by no means all of the different things that plants can do to help, but this is a few of them. So now I can search by, if I want a pollinator, then I can add an anise hyssop, which is also provides medicinal value. I could look for specifically another medicinal plant, maybe some tarragon, a ground cover. So I'll add clover and a dynamic accumulator like borage. Okay, so now I have a pretty good selection of plants. I'll go to the next step. This just indicates a different perspective. So before we were looking at the function that those plants fill. Now we're looking at the layers that they fill. So you can see here, um, a lot of my plants are herbaceous and ground cover, but I don't have any vining plants. So I might want to have a vining plant. go to the next. So this is just to make sure it lists all the families that these plants are in. So you just want to make sure that not all of the plants in your permaculture guild are in the same plant family, because then you're going to get, if you get any diseases or pests that target that specific plant family, they could wipe out your whole guild. By having a diversity of different plant families, then the risk is kind of averaged out. And then finally, you can kind of design your guild. So I'll have my star player here. Maybe I want a couple Anisops around there. Some tarragon. Over. So you can see I'm clicking and dragging from the left. Some borage. And some pole beans. Okay. So here's a guild that I have. So as soon as I'm happy with this guild, and this is it's not supposed to represent the exact spatial location, precise location. This is just to kind of give you an idea of the mix of plants visually, aesthetically, that you'd have in your guild and their relative sizes. You can see the pear is kind of, the relative size is larger than the pole bean, for example. So once you're happy with that, then you scroll down here, you give the guild a name. So I'll call it like Pear Guild. And then you can save the guild. So now we have a handy chart that indicates the plant types, the size, the permaculture functions. So this is kind of like useful information. You can see if I go to the time space view, that it's added the appropriate plant cards along with all their detailed information about harvest and space used. So if you look at one of the plant cards, you can see I had added 3 anise hyssop, so it's populated the number of anise hyssop as well. So I can go back to this, the Pear Guild. So the one functionality that we don't have yet, but we're going to have pretty soon, is the ability to print this onto a PDF so that it's kind of like a nice handy reference for you. So this is one of the new functions that we've had. If you want to remove that, so you may have to, yeah, on the delete, you have to do a refresh. So that's guilds. That's one new function that we've added. So the other thing that I want to show you quickly is that we've added the ability to generate planting dates for specific seasons. So before, when it generated a planting window for you, a suggested window when you should plant the plant that you were adding, it would find the earliest time in the year. So that would be the spring. But if you click the season that you want to add something, so we're in the fall now, and if I want to add, for example, I want to add a lettuce, and I'll indicate the season. Say I want to do a Lola Rosa, which is a nice red leaf variety that grows well in the fall. So I'm starting seed. So here, you'll see there's 2 new things. Create the planting date checkbox. So what this will do is it'll try to automatically generate suggested starting, transplanting, and harvest dates for that plant, and then use last possible date. So what that does is it'll try to shift the window to be the last possible window for growing in that season. So that might be relevant if you're late in a season. You just want to see what's the last possible date where you can start a seed in order to grow it. So I'll go ahead with that. Now, if you click here and go to planting dates, this is some of the new functionality. So we show you your averages from your climate, and then the red is the hot, the warm temperatures, the blue is the cold, and then it's a little hard to pick out, but you see there's like a green rectangle vertical and a green horizontal rectangle. Where they intersect is the planting window for lettuce for your climate for that season. So you can see it's generated uh, recommended dates. So the latest that I could start lettuce in Northern Virginia would be October 5th, and I would be harvesting it November 26th. So this will generate a planting window for each of your plants in your garden area. So that's kind of like a handy new feature that we've added to Sage. It's important for observation and record keeping that you put the actual dates that you start your seeds. The other thing that this has done is it's added it to your calendar. So if I go to October, you can see that I've had events added to my calendar for when I should be starting seeds. For October 5th is when I should be starting lettuce seeds. So that's also a new feature. If you put in your email address and you're enabling calendar notifications, you will get email notifications at that email address telling you, just kind of reminding you when you should be starting these events. So we've been pretty busy with adding these features. Just to wrap up this video, we're just fixing some remaining bugs in the designer part, which is the visual part, and adding some dashboard widgets to give you summaries of information, kind of like your tasks that are coming up, your garden tasks, to give you a report on your harvests for the year. So the dashboard, you'll be able to select widgets that kind of show you some summaries of what's going on in your garden. So we anticipate that being done by the end of September. So stay tuned. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we appreciate any input or feedback that you have as you use these features. Thank you.